How important are honeybees to the human species? You may think these creatures don't do much, but in fact they do a lot more. Honeybees are responsible for 1/3 of our food supply. They save our economy a great deal of money, and with it, they're responsible for a majority of our diets. Now, I've done a great amount of research on this topic, and I have some good facts that I'd like to share with you all. But ultimately, what it comes down to is the importance of honeybees and now how their species is on the decline. And with that, the ways we need to go about preventing their extinction. So firstly, when talking about honeybees, I'd like to discuss with you all, like I said, the importance of them and all that they do for us. After that, I'd like to discuss with you what is actually causing the decline of the honeybee population, and then from there, I'd like to talk about ways to go about preventing the extinction of the honeybees. So firstly, when talking about how important honeybees are, I want you to first think about a bee. I'm sure you just think it's this pesky little creature buzzing around your ear in the summertime, there's this thing you want to swat away. But like I said, they have much more importance than that. Honeybees are responsible for cross-pollination. They are nature's natural pollinator. According to Mother Nature Network, like I said, they take part in cross-pollination, and cross-pollination is the main source of plants reproducing. So we need these honeybees to cross-pollinate all these plants and to allow our vegetation to thrive. Now, while they're cross-pollinating and transferring pollen back and forth from plants, helping them reproduce, they're also collecting pollen. Now, they're collecting pollen to bring to the queen honeybee, and the queen honeybee needs this pollen in order to reproduce and lay eggs. So it's very important for the honeybees to cross-pollinate and transfer pollen, not only transfer, collect it, to give to the queen honeybee to produce, lay eggs, and have more honeybees. Now, with that, honeybees are responsible for 1/3 of our food supply. According to Natural News, 1/3 of our food supply is much more than you may think, because this 1/3 of our food supply is just not crops and vegetation, but this goes hand in hand with meats such as pigs, cows, sheep, because these pigs, cows, and sheep need this vegetation to eat and live off of, and so, like I said, they go hand in hand with one another. So 1/3 of our crops is much more than you may think, since they both work together. And also with that, from SaveBees.org, 1 out of every 3 bites we eat come from honeybees, and also with that, 71 out of 100 crops are also from honeybees, which is over 50%, which is a large number. Now, I have a chart here that I'd like to show you all, and this is from BBC. And on here it says 1/3 of food is pollination dependent. Bees contribute $400 million to the economy. They pollinate 70 types of crops. So as you can see, they are very important. Now, with talking about how important they are, I hope that gives you some awareness. And then now I'd like to discuss with you what is actually causing the decline of the bee population. And first, I'd like to discuss with you pesticides. According to Mother Nature Network, the pesticides that we use on our crops that are causing the bee population to decrease, these pesticides are only used here in the United States. They're not used overseas and whatnot, so that's very important and something to be aware of. Now, with that, in some areas, the pesticide use has caused population decrease of honeybees up to 75%, which is a large number. That's over 50%, which is a big deal. Now, also with that, global warming and habitat loss is also responsible for honeybee population decrease, and according to Natural Resource Defense Council, global warming is responsible for the honeybee population decrease due to the fact that global warming is causing plants to bloom sooner or later than usual, so honeybees will go into hibernation, and when they come out of hibernation, they're out of sync with the blooming of the plants, and therefore it makes cross-pollination that much harder since they're out of sync. Along with that, habitat loss, like I said, is causing bee population to decrease, and this is due to the fact that crops are taking over a large area of a bee's natural habitat, and abandoned farms, things like that. It's just all taking over the natural habitats of these animals, and so that is causing them to become more extinct and their population to become more on the decline. So now from there, I'm talking about their importance and what's causing them to have a population decrease. It's now important for me to talk about how to go about preventing this and to try and help save the bees. So according to Mother Nature Network, these are all suggestions that talk about ways to help prevent honeybee population from decreasing and ways to save them. So first, pesticide use. It's important to use organic pesticides. like I said, United States is the only country that is using these harmful pesticides, so it's important to switch over to organic pesticides, not only for the bees, but for us as well. We're eating those crops that all those pesticides are on, so organic pesticide use is huge. Now with that, organic pesticide use costs a lot more than regular pesticide use, so these farmers that are using organic pesticides, they need to be given a reimbursement reward to allow them to want to continue to use organic pesticides more and more. Now with that, you yourself, you could also go about ways to help the honeybees. You could create your own habitat in the backyard. Get a honeycomb, build a habitat for them. It'll give them a safe environment, pesticide-free, for them to grow and thrive from, and you'll also get your own source of natural honey, which is great. And with that, plants. Plant more flowers, more natural plants and vegetation for honeybees to cross-pollinate will allow them and help them to thrive more and more. And like I said, you won't have any pesticides in your backyard and whatnot, so it'll help them to grow and thrive more and more. So with all this, I hope you can see how vital they actually are to human society and how important they are. Because first we talked about how important honeybees are and all that they do for us. Secondly, I discussed with you what is actually causing the decline of their population. And lastly, I discussed with you ways to go about preventing their extinction and ways for you guys to help the species to thrive. And so with all this, I'd like you to take, next time you're out playing in your backyard during summer, you have these pesky little bees buzzing around your ear and whatnot, I just really hope you take into account before you decide to slap it, swat it, kill it, whatever you're going to choose to do. Just rethink all of these facts and how important they actually are, and they're not going to hurt you. They're actually helping you in the long run, and I hope all this allows you to become more aware of that.